Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tony L Talks. I'm your host, Tony L. How's everybody doing? I just came on here live because I want to talk to you guys about the big bill, Intro 948B, which is supposed to be up for a vote with the city council tomorrow morning. So I just got a call from my city council member, who is the sponsor, who has been the prime sponsor of the bill, Mercedes Narcisse, who told me that the Intro 948A that has been advertised all over the news media as being this big bill this controversial bill that's going up for a vote tomorrow, it won't be going up for a vote. They killed the bill. The same housing committee where you guys saw me testify live, where they allowed hours and hours of false information and propaganda to be spewed, while they did not even allow the author of the bill, Tony, to get more than 90 seconds to debunk hours of misinformation. They gave people like lead propagandist for the HTC, Kirsten Foy, 8.5 minutes to talk. Much of it was about himself. But when it came to debunking all of the misinformation that was spread about Intro 948A at the time, they gave Tony Lindsay 90 seconds to speak. It was such a biased hearing. It was overt. It was obvious. The authors of Local Law 18 were given multiple opportunities to testify. They were called more than once. They were voir dire. They were given multiple opportunities to be cross-examined, interrogated, spoke to about the tenets of intro of Local Law 18. But when it came to Intro 948, with the author of the bill right there, who was able to answer every bit of false information, every claim that was made about that bill, I was not allowed an opportunity to speak. I was silenced. I was ignored the whole time. Since that hearing, what did Tony Lindsay do? I've reached out to every single city council member, all 51 of them. I've sent each one of them my follow-up written testimony, being that I was only allotted 90 seconds to testify in that hearing. So I sent them my written testimony, which absolutely, incontrovertibly debunked everything that was said in that hearing. So I wanted to make sure that all of them had that. Not only did I do that, I reached out to every single one of those city council members' offices and their staff. I called, I sent emails, I've dropped by some of them and dropped off literature. I've messaged them on their social media accounts. I've DM'd them, and I've seen that they were read by some of them. And I've not received a single response from any city council member about the bill. Yet, there has been an open door policy for the Hotel Trades Council, the HTC, the hotel union, and all of the lobbyist groups that have been out there on their behalf, where they have full access to these city council members, while the people who wrote the bill have been boxed out of the conversation. Even in the larger conversation about Intro 948, I'm just going to call it Intro 948 because the latest version is B. The one before that was A. Doesn't matter. I wrote all of the shit. B, they tried to condense it and remix a little bit of the language to somehow offset all of the misinformation, the false information that was being spread to trivialize the conversation. But at the end of the day, when it came to trying to get an opportunity to actually articulate this bill, you will notice that you don't see me in the media talking about the bill, but you will see everyone else, all of the people who are opposed to the bill. You'll see maybe one or two people that might be in support of the bill who don't even understand the language or the tenets of the bill. But there's been a deliberate effort to keep me out of the conversation. Now, why would that happen? Why would they want to keep the person who wrote the bill out of the conversation? That doesn't make sense, right? Why keep this guy out of the conversation? Well, I'll tell you why. because I am the person who is uniquely qualified to debunk all of the lies that have been spread about this bill. Why? Because I created it. We went through every single detail of Local Law 18, OSE enforcement. We went through the Housing Maintenance Code, the Administrative Code, the Building Code. We went through everything, and we crafted this bill in such a manner that it works in support of Local Law 18 while creating an exception, a carve-out for vulnerable primary residence homeowners. That's people who live in their private homes who have nothing to do with the city's so-called housing stock, long-term rental stock, rent prices, has nothing to do with union jobs or that other bullshit that they're talking about. But the problem is my unique ability to debunk all of those lies, it makes me dangerous to the overall narrative. The donor narrative. The HTC, see, let me break down a little bit of how politics works. I mean, in New York City, but pretty much anywhere. Your elected officials, your local elected officials, they don't represent you. They represent the interests of the people who are paying them. Full stop. Whether it's you, whether it's whether it's Airbnb, whether it's the hotel industry, whether it's weapons manufacturers, it doesn't matter. Whoever is donating, whoever's putting money in their coffers, that's who they listen to. When you vote for them and you elect them to represent your interests, they don't give a damn about that. Case in point, Intro 948B has been proposed as a solution to correct the alleged overcorrection of Local Law 18. Now, a lot of people have been out here labeling Intro 948 as an Airbnb bill. Intro 948 is not an Airbnb bill. I've said that about 1,000 times already. I've written op-eds, I've written articles about it. I've done this so many times. But I realized that the tactic that the HTC and their proxies use is instead of debating or trying to counter your argument, what they do is what you typically see, let's be honest, on the left. They try to drown you out. They try to just flood the zone with as many lies as possible in order to obfuscate and trivialize the conversation. They throw so many lies into the pool that it makes no sense anymore to even argue, because you're just on the defensive, fighting all of this stuff, all these lies they're saying. It's like, what, you can't even keep up anymore. And what does it do? It gets people to the point where they just give up and they're like, man, I don't even know what's going on. It must be bad, because, you know, so many people are saying it's bad, so it must be bad. And that is the problem with the laziness of the public. Tony, you won't text me, so I'm telling you now as a friend, it doesn't matter. Oh, okay. All right. I'll talk about that later. I'm doing a live right now, a podcast right now, bro. Like, I don't have time for that. I'm talking to the people right now. So now you see city council member, incoming speaker, Julie Menin, who is out there now denying her quiet influence on her way into the city council in the position of speaker to kill the bill. Now, everyone knows that she's been working to kill this bill on behalf of the HTC, which supported her. You see, that's just the unfortunate reality of politics. They don't serve the people. They serve the people who are paying them. Now, here's what's interesting about Julie Menin. Julie Menin is quite wealthy. Her husband is a very wealthy real estate developer. And here's the interesting thing. Julie opposes Intro 948A, which protects the autonomy of small private dwelling homeowners, people who live in their homes. It preserves your right, our rights to share our homes, to do short-term rentals within our private domicile, our homes where we live. So she opposes the Airbnb for small homeowners in New York City, while she simultaneously and her husband are invested in Airbnb developments in Miami and I believe Chicago and other parts of the country. So you're an Airbnb entrepreneur who is fighting legislation to protect homeowner rights so they can supplement their income while not having short-term rentals be made or catered to exclusively the wealthiest people in New York City. The large home, the multi-unit property owners, the Class B buildings. See, the luxury condo owners who are charging $7,000 a night. Those people are protected, by the way, under local law 18. But if you live in your house, in your little one-family house, your two-family house, where it's just you and your family that live there, they're coming after you if you're sharing a bedroom in there for $49 a night. So it begs the question, why are they fighting so hard to stop this bill that clearly doesn't hurt anyone? And the answer is simple: profits. Unfortunately, Airbnb and the hotel industry have been at war with each other ever since Airbnb was created. But here's the thing, that has nothing to do with us. You see, short-term rentals existed in New York City and in this country before Airbnb ever existed, before hotels ever existed. People were sharing their homes to lodgers and boarders before any of this. And a little key piece of information. Short-term rentals are not, as a matter of fact, let me get even more specific. Short-term rentals in private dwellings, 1- and 2-family homes, they are exempt from, under state law, from this STR, short-term rental restriction enforcement. All of the bullshit that you're seeing, we're not even governed under that. We're exempt under state law. But what happens is, at the local level, they create policies that not only circumvent, but often directly conflict with state law. Local law does not supersede state law. So under state law, just so you all get this clear, if you are the owner of a private dwelling, whether you live there or not, you have the right to do short-term rentals in your home, period. And here's another key piece of information that most people don't understand, because these people lie so fucking much. They lied so much through the hearing. It's just so much to debunk. The definition of boarder and lodger in the multiple dwelling law, do you know what that is defined as? That's defined as people who stay in your house for 30 days or more. So the rules that they're trying to trap you in under the OSC enforcement are wrong. A boarder and a lodger is not defined as someone who stays in your home for 30 days or less. They are defined as people who stay in your home for 30 days or more. And state law actually gives these people the right to squat in your home. So you literally have an enforcement mechanism that is set up that is intruding into your private home, your private domicile, and dictating to you who you can have, who you can host as a guest in your own home. See, here's the funny thing. Airbnb is the same thing as Uber, where it allows you to use your own primary asset as a means of generating income, of creating income. You own your home. You reside in your home. The state does not have a right to intrude into your home and dictate how many guests you can have, how long they can stay in your home. It's ridiculous. So that's just to give you just a little breakdown of what Intro 948A. It's specifically catered to people who own and reside in 1 and 2 family homes, which are private dwellings under state law, they are not a part of the city's housing stock. Because guess why? You have a choice whether you want to rent your place on the long-term market if you're a 1 or 2 family homeowner in New York. And most people are not going to do that. Why? Because the law, the housing, the landlord-tenant laws, it facilitates people being able to just stay in your house, in your home for years without paying rent. So if our city council was serious about affordability and protecting people's rights to access to wealth, then they would be attacking the real problems that have led to the so-called housing supply shortage, like the 50,000+ warehoused multiple dwelling units, rent stabilized apartments that are not on the market. I mean, it's a simple supply and demand issue. The more regulation you continue to impose on a population, the more unaffordable you make it, the more the less available you will make supply, and the more you disincentivize investment. Our city council, it's so funny because our city council, most of the things that they talk about, it's always talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all of this shit. But every policy that they always push, it's something that makes it just a little bit easier for the wealthiest people to thrive at the expense of everyone else while you're taxing everyone else. So the bill that I've been working on for 3 years, advocating, speaking to different city council members, getting them on board just like that, once they understood and I explained to them what the bill was about, the incoming city council speaker, who oddly has the support of all of these black city council members who are supposed to be trying to protect their black homeowner constituents, because this is what y'all said. You said you're fighting for black and brown people who are disproportionately losing their homes due to local law 18, but yet y'all all supported her. So there hasn't been an official vote yet. We know a lot of you guys, pledged your support, but hey, there hasn't been a vote yet. The vote's not until January. I think January 7th. Are you all still going to vote for her, knowing that she undermined and killed the bill that is supposed to be saving your constituents from foreclosure and losing their homes? Are you all still going to pledge your undying support to this woman? Oh, she can offer you guys all of those committee appointments. The chair of this committee. Oh, I can be put on that committee. So I got questions. And another question I have, and this is simply based upon the rhetoric that comes from the city council. The city council that is so filled with progressives and socialists, you liberals, everybody who's always talking about equity and diversity and justice. Explain to me how the first black woman to be city council speaker, the speaker of the city council, how is it that we are seeing in an unprecedented fashion an incoming speaker who has not even been elected yet, wielding her influence to undermine the agenda of the current speaker of the city council, who did everything that she could to get this bill to a vote? Explain that. Somebody explain that. Because I need to hear from the city council members who are still supporting this lady. You support your constituents? Or are you just trying to preserve your access and your privilege in the upcoming council? You're not really worried about doing what's best for your constituents or doing the right thing. How many of y'all backed off of the bill because it was politically expedient? Interesting. Interesting that Intro 948 is not even going to go up into the committee. It's not even going to go through the committee to get to a vote on the floor. You know what that does? Here's what that does. That saves everyone from having to actually make their position clear. It saves everyone from actually having to vote on this and show where they stand on this issue. Think about it. If it doesn't make it through committee, whew, you know, I mean, I know I was a sponsor on the bill, but damn, you know, all that pressure from the HTC, because they're all terrified of the HTC, by the way, because as you all know, New York City is a union town. So if the union tells you jump boy or jump girl, that's what your city council members are going to do. They're going to jump. How high? How high, Bessa? How high should I jump? This is why I keep telling y'all to let go of the partisan politics. You got to call these bastards out at every turn. I don't care who they are, bro. I don't care who they are. They hire their so-called social justice activists. What the hell is a social justice activist? I remember we had civil rights leaders. You remember that? They're now called social justice activists. Why? Because they're not actually fighting for your rights. They're pushing social issues in order to trigger you, to get you to act and vote against your best interest. So back to the question. Why is it that for, let's just say even the last year. Why is it, let's say the last year. Why is it for the last year not a single person reached out to talk to me about Intro 948? Why is it that amongst all of the people who these folks have been interviewing about this bill, no one has expressed any interest in talking to the person who wrote it? Does that seem odd to anyone? I'm just wondering, does that seem odd at all to anyone? That they're willing, everyone is willing to engage with the people who are opposed to the bill and the people who are insufficiently qualified to discuss it, even if they're for the bill. And I'm going to tell you something. It's actually, I'm not an attorney, but I am astounded at the level of either incompetence or just ignorance of some of the attorneys that have even looked at this or offered their opposition to the bill. One attorney being Christian Klausner, the director of the Office of Special Enforcement. But I understand why he'd be opposed to it, because he's political in this. He's progressive. He believes that the city of New York needs to control your property and what you're able to do with it. In the hearing, he literally argued in favor of warrantless searches into your home, into your private home. This is astounding to me that these people would actually make these sorts of arguments publicly. In a public hearing, these people are talking about violating your Fourth Amendment rights, your Fifth Amendment rights, your 14th Amendment rights, your Eighth Amendment rights. This is astounding to me. Why do I know all of this? And why is it I literally challenged the director of the mayor's office of special enforcement, the man who wrote the rules of enforcement under local law 18, to a debate. I invited him. I invited the HTC propagandist Kirsten Foy. I invited Zoran Mamdani. I invited Adrienne Adams. All of them. All of you against me. Come discuss the bill with me. Not a single fucking word. I've reached out to every city council member. Not a word. I reached out from my organization account. I reached out personally. I reached out on social media. I DM'd them. I emailed them. I called. I went to the offices. I dropped off literature. No response. So what does that tell you? Does that sound like they're actually interested in the facts? How is it that we elect people into office who can get away with this sort of shit? And then we vote them right back in? This is it? Is that's it? That's our politics? And this is, bro, I'm not even angry. I'm heartbroken and I'm disappointed to see how willing these people are. Like, it's the lack of integrity, I guess, for me. Because, always in the back of your head, you always have this kind of this latent hope that there's some level of decency in people. But then when you actually get to see it, when you get to peek behind the curtain and look at these people and actually look at their loyalties and look at their level of character, integrity, it's just like, oh, shit. People are really like this? And like I said, this is why bro, Democrat, Republican, I don't care. They're all corrupt. They're all serving their interests. They're not serving your interests as the public, as the people who voted for them, plain and simple. And you all have the power to remove them. But we're so busy listening to the opinions that are fed to us without ever digging into the research. You know what's crazy? All of the people that have been out here talking shit about Intro 948, I'd say maybe 98% of them have never even read the bill. I'm 100% sure of that. At least 98 to 99% of them have not read the bill. So what do we do now? Put in all this work. And you know what's even a bigger slap in the face? When they call you the night before the vote to say, oh, by the way, yo, I just found they're not even going to put it through committee, bro. Hey, great effort, Tony. You tried. We appreciate everything that you've done. We just couldn't get the votes, not even to get it out of committee. First of all, that's bullshit. Because when the speaker, first of all, that bill is aged in. When the speaker actually, they modify the shit to age it in, that shit is, listen, bro, they don't do that unless that is going to pass, unless they know they have the votes. So that means since last Wednesday, when Intro 948A was updated to Intro 948B and put on the docket, something happened. Something happened to interfere with the speaker's agenda. You know what's crazy too? Every single sponsor to Intro 948B, every single sponsor that we have on that bill, pretty much, I think all of them have constituents who are struggling. I mean, facing imminent loss of their homes in their districts. Every one of those city council members that are sponsoring Intro 948B, guess what? They all endorsed Julie Menin for city council speaker. They all support her. They all said, we commit our vote to her for city council speaker. The same woman that just said, fuck you and your constituents and all they black asses, they can lose all their homes. Are y'all still going to vote for her on January 7th? Are y'all still voting for her? Does she still have your votes pledged, guys? I mean, I'm sure we're not going to see committee appointments, people appointed to chair positions now after the bill got killed and she gets in. I mean, that wouldn't look good, right? I mean, we don't want the impression of impropriety. as if it was quid pro quo. Oh, we'll throw the bill under the bus. Just give us an appointment. You see, bro, we got to stop being apologetic and afraid to speak up and tell the truth. Fuck these people. They're all corrupt. They're dirty. You have to hold them accountable, yo. Why do I feel like I'm the only one out here bro? You know what, bro? I got to get out of New York. I think that's what it is. Because if we're stupid enough to keep voting for these things and keep supporting these people, putting them right back in office, no matter how much they betray their constituents, no matter how much gentrification continues, no matter how many of y'all are displaced out of your communities, what's the fight? What's the purpose for the fight? What's the purpose? Do you know how much work went into this? Do you know how disrespectful that is to all of the people who took their time from work to come out and rally and go to their city council members' offices repeatedly, trying their best to just get a meeting, most of them only to just be rebuffed by their city council member like they don't mean shit? Do you know how hard that is? Do you know how many people are facing the imminent loss of their homes? Do you know how often I'll get a message from members of our nonprofit organization who need help, who tell me, Tony, I can't do this anymore. Like they just filed foreclosure. I went into foreclosure. I have to sell my house. I can't wait anymore. I'm about to lose everything. We have no money left. I'm forced to just start my whole life all over. These messages, a lot of these messages are from seniors. Imagine being 75 years old and you're in your home that you've had for generations. You don't know what you're going to do. You can't afford to live here anymore. The cost of living is through the roof. Water bill is crazy. Utilities are crazy. And the one thing that you were using to supplement your income, your fixed income of Social Security or pension, they snatched that away from you and criminalized it. What's she supposed to do now? This 75-year-old lady's supposed to just, let me just pick up and sell my house and start all over somewhere in some other state? How cruel are these people? How wicked are these people? See, but that's the thing. People like Julie Menin don't care. She's good. She's straight. She's making her money. And the crazy thing is, these Democrats and you progressives, you always talk about the evil, wealthy people, the 1%, the this and that. So what is Julie Menin? Real estate developer tycoon, lives on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, the most expensive place to live in the country, making money off of Airbnb while actively lobbying against it in New York City. Not for the other people like her, but lobbying against small homeowners who are using that service and others to share their homes with budget travelers. Are we okay with that? Are y'all serious? And I hope these city council members are watching this. I know some of y'all are watching, your staff is watching, but I'm going to tell you this. Tomorrow, I'll be there. I know one thing. I better see that shit go up for a vote in the committee. Even though y'all talking about you killed it, I'm going to be there. And I promise you, I'm going to call out every single person. See, that's funny. Because I was on the phone with somebody, right? And I was like, yo, I'm snitching. Tomorrow, I'm snitching. You know how we say we don't snitch? Nah, I'm snitching tomorrow. Because if you all are going to be such snakes, everybody could get it. Everybody's catching it. So I will be at the city council. I will be at City Hall tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. sharp. And bro, you're gonna see me in rare form tomorrow. So anybody want to know where Tony L is gonna be tomorrow? I'll be at City Hall holding everyone accountable very loudly and very plainly, because you're not gonna shut me up. And you're not going to silence all of the people who have been out here fighting to survive while you all are protecting your own selfish interests and are too afraid of a hotel lobby. So you're afraid of the HTC. I would argue in reverse. They should be afraid of their constituents. They should be afraid of betraying the people who elected them. Why are they only afraid of the HTC? Why are they afraid of the lobbyists? What is that? They're afraid of the unions? Why aren't you afraid of your constituents? Who's their boss? Hold on. Y'all help me out. When it comes to your local government, I told you all this, you have to be involved in your politics at the local level. That is where it is most important, and that is where you most experience the effects on the local level. You cannot allow these people to just get away with all of this shit and without holding them accountable. So I'm asking you, who is your city council member's boss? Are there any New Yorkers watching this? Let me ask you. I want to know. Who does your city council member work for, you or the union? Simple question. Who does your city council member work for, you or the unions or the lobbyists? Who they work for? Their donors. Clearly. Yeah, they're supposed to work for you, but they work for their donors. It's a big club and you ain't in it. So to my Democrat friends, I just want to know, how do you all explain this, right? The party of justice and equity and inclusion. How do you explain this shit? Please, somebody tell me this. You know what? Let me see. Is there a way for me to pull somebody in? Let me see, because I'm sure. See, I get requests on my TikTok to come up. Let me see. They pull somebody into the conversation if they want to come in. Oh, okay. So there are more people on this one. So I'm wondering if I should just switch over. Yeah, let me just come over here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull you up. Pull you up. Pull you up. All right. Now let me know if you guys are able to. Are you guys able to hear me? All right. Now let me know if you guys are able to. Are you guys able to hear me? I want to make sure. All right. Hold on. If you guys are able to. There we go. All right. I got rid of the echo. So you guys should be able to hear me right now, right? I need you. Maybe somebody go over to Rumble or go over to X and just tell me. Just make sure that there's. Make sure. Oh fuck. Make sure that there's no echo. I want to make sure that there's no echo before I keep going. You know what? You got to go to my backup account, the Tony L Talks. Oh, shit. You know what? I know what I'll do. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Yep. I'm going to switch out phones because my backup account is really not doing anything. So yeah, I'm live on 2 different accounts on TikTok. Yeah, there's reverb. Okay, I killed that one. right? Here we go. All right. So let me put myself there. I'm sorry, y'all. I want to do this so that the people can hear, because I'm going to continue on TikTok. Even though, who knows, if I tell too much truth, they might, suspend the account, because y'all know how TikTok does.
You ready?
Loud and clear.
With all my heart, I love you, baby.
I think it's this one.
Stay with me, and you will see my arms will hold you, baby. Never leave.
Come on.
'Cause I believe I'm.
Hold on, TikTok is putting me through all of this crap.
Sweet love, hear me calling out your name.
Okay, good. Here we go. I am back. I am cool. Back. Let's turn that off. Cool. Let's turn that off. All right. Now, somebody just let me know that you can hear me clearly over here. I just want to make sure that you see me nice and clear and there's no reverb, no echo. And then I'll continue, all right? I just want to make sure that it's nice and clear. It's good? We can hear and see you perfect. No, I'm not talking about here on TikTok. I'm talking about on Rumble or on the other platforms. Yes? Okay, Bonnie. All right, cool. Yeah, so at the end of the day, what we have to deal with is we have to deal with a corrupt city council. Now, the unfortunate problem is that there are so many people who have been trying to suppress the truth, the narrative. When it came to like the news media, I would also argue that they're complicit as well, because they were hosting a lot of they were doing a lot of interviews with people who were opining on Intro 948, the bill. Many of them who didn't even, they were just so off with everything that they said about it. And when I offered to correct the record, to be involved, I was just shut down, or most of the times they just don't respond. So we have a real serious problem here. And look, man, for the remainder of the time that I'm here in New York, I'm going to keep fighting. But I do want to say this, and I knew it was coming, and I've been preparing for it. The only thing that we can do at this point, which I think is what we should have been doing from the beginning, is we have to file a federal lawsuit, a class action lawsuit. Now, believe it or not, we already have most of the arguments, and they're very strong. And I am very confident that once this is filed, we will very likely get an immediate injunction on Local Law 18, on OSE enforcement. Even the agency of the Office of Special Enforcement is an illegal agency. There are just so many different things that people just are unaware of. But what I'm going to do, this is it. The next step tomorrow, when I go to City Council, no matter how it goes, I'm going to be announcing the federal lawsuit, and I'm going to be inviting people to come on as signatories to it. You can now what we're going to be immediately seeking is we're going to be seeking an immediate injunction on all enforcement under Local Law 18, but we're also going to be leaving the door open for damages, monetary damages, and they are significant. They are identifiable. They are significant damages that have been experienced by people under OSE enforcement and harassment. And particularly, I'm speaking to the owners of private dwellings, because when you're in a private, see, this is the thing this is why I say this has larger implications nationwide, because whenever a city or a state tries to undermine the federal law or your constitutional rights with legislation, we have a responsibility to immediately act. And what we have seen in places like California, and now here we're seeing in New York, we've been seeing this slow process in Minnesota. We've been seeing processes where they have been enacting laws that have been slowly and surely eroding your constitutional rights. And we have a responsibility to challenge it immediately. And that's just what we haven't been doing. Somebody said I'm breaking up. Am I breaking up? It doesn't look like I'm breaking up. It says I have good signal. Am I breaking up? No? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be there and I'm going to have a lot of people out there with me. So y'all could try your best. Y'all could go ahead and try it. Don't bring it up for a vote. See what happens. But I'm not playing. I'm not playing. See, and that's the thing. If all of these people out here would have taken a more aggressive approach, you all got to stop begging. Stop begging your city council members to listen to you, because it's like you're deferring this authority to them and they look down on you as if you work for them. I was watching a hearing the other day in the city council where there was a city council member that was so disrespectful to a constituent who was just trying to talk. She was just cutting him off as he was speaking, telling him she's going to shut his mic off and just strike his testimony, be quiet, like telling him to talk, talk about this and don't say that. You don't have a right to do that, ma'am. So disrespectful. Then she's bragging about she's a millionaire. No, I make more than that. Excuse me? These are our elected officials? I've seen AOC dancing while people are protesting her in like a town hall where people are in there like shouting her out, like they're shouting her down, they're protesting, and she's there clapping like it's funny, like it's a fucking joke. These are the people that you guys are electing. Why are they not afraid of you? Is that all I have to do? Just scam you, say some pretty stuff to get you to vote for me, and then ignore you for the rest of my tenure as I just get richer and richer? Bro, this is crazy. Look, man, all I'm saying is I'm not letting this go. And truth be told, I always win. So it's going to happen. I mean, was not. So, yeah, let me see if there's anybody who wants to come up or has any questions about it. Are there any New Yorkers here? Yeah, I would love to speak to a New Yorker. Wait, how do you have two different accounts? And the insanity of this is that you have so many people who just don't understand policy. They don't, okay, there are a lot of them who don't understand policy, but I think there are some who know what they're doing. They just don't care. And that's the scariest part about it, because those tend to be the people who manipulate the masses into voting for things and supporting policies that are actually harmful to them. And then you have, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, bro, a lot of your city council members, they're not that bright. I'm just telling you straight up. Most of them don't even understand the damn policies, the bills that they're sponsoring. It's their legislative staff. It's their chief of staff. It's their legislative directors. It's those people. They're just spokespersons. A lot of them are empty suits. And it's disappointing too. There are a few who understand policy, like people like Kevin Riley. He understands policy. There are some people that you can speak to and you can break it down for them, and they're like, oh, okay, yes, I understand. So they can adequately or accurately or sufficiently represent what it is that they are allegedly fighting for. But the thing that's crazy is, damn, I must be politically toxic, bro, because these people, they don't want me to talk publicly at all. I'm saying nobody. But y'all know me. They could try to shut me up all they want, but they won't. So I'll be there tomorrow. And as you know, I'm gonna have something. I'm definitely gonna have something to say. Hey, don't spam my chat, Whitney. Don't do that or you get blocked. So let me see if there's anybody that wants to come up before I go. I'm live on TikTok. TikTok is where people can come up and actually say something and be heard. So I'll let you guys come up like that way. No echo over here on X, just a little behind TikTok. Okay, cool. Do I have any New Yorkers in here? This has large implications outside of New York, by the way, because you don't want the precedent to be set where they're undermining homeowner rights, like property ownership. Because, just think about it. We've seen a lot of the most, the greatest violations of our civil rights and constitutional rights. You usually see those sorts of legislations, those acts. You'll see those laws. They're usually born in like places like San Francisco, like California, New York, Minnesota, sometimes Chicago. Those are the testing grounds. And when they're able to set precedent like that, there's something to refer back to whenever someone else tries to do the same thing. So we have a responsibility to challenge these things and strike them down the moment it happens. And while this may just look like this tiny little bill, this tiny little insignificant bill to people in Florida or I don't know, Arizona, Texas, trust me, this makes a difference. We cannot allow the precedent to be set. Everything that happens in New York, whether you like it or not, this has a reverberating effect throughout the country. And I would argue throughout the world. And when it comes to your rights, can you imagine somebody, just think about that. Let me give you an example. I had a guest that came by, a short-term, it was an Airbnb guest, because I don't just use Airbnb. Like I'll just do short-term rentals privately on my own. You can advertise on Craigslist. You can do it privately. You can do word of mouth. I mean, that's what short rentals are. Airbnb, they just created a monetization model for something that everybody already does. So when people keep trying to paint 948 as an Airbnb bill, it's false. And it's just a way to trigger people. Oh my God, big corporation, Airbnb sponsored bill. Airbnb didn't sponsor this bill. They didn't pay for anything. They didn't help us. They didn't support 948. They were supporting this bill 1107. 948 was funded, sponsored, was paid for by us, the homeowners, the people who were actually invested in this. We paid for the research and the legal counsel and all of this stuff as we were putting together the language. And the original version we created is not even the version of today, because I just rewrote everything for one full coherent bill. But I made sure that I tapped into every false premise argument so that I killed the argument. I killed the opposition before they could make it. So the HTC has never been able to refute anything in my bill. Only thing they've been able to do is lie about it. That's the crazy thing. So what happens when, because I'm just going to paint you the picture. The HTC, they cannot find anything in my bill to truthfully and honestly criticize. So they make up shit. They have made up a lot of bullshit, just fake talking points. And they decided to flood the zone with the lies. Shit, just fake talking points. And they decided to flood the zone with the lies. that they put out these propaganda posts and they turn off their comment sections because they get ratioed all the time, because they put out so many lies. But then you have the actual people who read the bill, the people who are losing their homes to the bill. They flood their comment sections debunking every fucking thing that they say. So what does the HTC and their lobbyist groups like Tenants Not Tourists do? They turn off the comment sections or they block the people who debunk them. These are the people that are donating to your city council members, sending out people to campaign for them. So maybe that could be part of the reason why the city council members don't actually want to speak to me. They don't want to speak to the authors of the bill who can provide. So maybe to kill the bill, I would argue yes. It's obvious. I mean, it's not a question. A lot of you guys saw the hearing. You saw it live while I was there. You saw all of the leeway they gave to everyone to just lie about the bill, even though the text is right there. You know, I created handouts that I gave to city council members, even though only like 2 or 3 showed up. I gave the press the handouts with all of the factual information, debunking every claim in advance. No, it didn't matter. They all lied. They just kept lying anyway. And the housing chair, she just kept platforming the lies. And when it was my turn, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're out. We don't have much time. So, you know, yeah, thank you. Thank you. 90 seconds. How do you give? No, seriously. How do you give the author of the bill 90 seconds to debunk hours of lies? And then after I testify, you call up the people who drafted local law 18 and you let them testify multiple times. And you give them extended periods of time each time. One of them even citing the brown paper bag test that he came up with to justify local law 18. Yes, the brown paper bag test that was used to conduct redlining, that redline black people out of white neighborhoods. Yeah, that brown paper bag test. He just did it. He created an algorithm to do that. And he was allowed to give that testimony to the housing chair. Why would she? What? The real question is, why is it that every single member of the housing committee doesn't support Intro 948? What is the justification? We just want to hear it. If you're saying that you're not even going to let Intro 948A or B get through committee, I think the public is entitled to an explanation. Why is it not going through? Why? It's threatening how. It's not going through. Why? It's threatening housing supply. No, it's not. Housing supply has gone down since local law 18. Look, unstable connection. Oh, here we go. It affects the price of rent, short-term rentals. When these people in their homes, it's threatening the price. No, rent has gone up since local law 18 enforcement began. What else? Oh, it's threatening union jobs. Nope. Union jobs are up. It's actually a different market of people who come and stay in short-term rentals. Those are budget travelers. People who may come with their family members who can't afford $500 to $1,000 a night in a Manhattan hotel. Yeah, those people wouldn't be coming to New York anyway if they couldn't afford to come stay at somebody's house in the outer boroughs. What else? You had one HTC member who came out there. They rolled her out with the pre-prepared script, and she's reading from it, and then she said the quiet part out loud. It threatens hotel profits, and I don't want to lose my. Wait, what? First of all, y'all know the hotel industry, their profits are up double digits since local law 18 passed. People who benefited from local law 18 is the hotel industry and wealthy owners of large class B apartment buildings and luxury condo owners. Those are the hard facts of who benefited from local law 18. Who was harmed? Small homeowners trying to supplement their income to survive in an economy that just keeps going up in an inflationary environment where the cost of their water bill is going up, the taxes. Nope. The state says no. Your private home is our home. We get to tell you how many guests you can have in your house. You know, I had an Airbnb guest the other day, and he was like, it was a man and his girlfriend, right? And he was like, hey, I have a friend. We're going, what was it they were going to? Oh, the Thanksgiving Day parade. He was like, yeah, we're going to the parade, and my friend, she's visiting from Jersey. Is it okay if she just comes and just kind of sleeps over with us in the bedroom with us on the couch or something like that, so she can go back in the morning? Now, normally I'd be like, yeah, no problem. Do you know what I had to say to him? I'm so sorry, but the law in New York City prevents me from having more than 2 guests in my home. Do you know how degrading and unlawful that is? That the city, the state, the government says, I can't have more than 2 guests in my home. That the city, the state, the government says, I can't have more than 2 guests in my home. The city, the state, according to local law 18 and the current rules under the Office of Special Enforcement, the Mayor's Office of Special Enforcement, I, Tony Lindsay, adult male, owner enforcement, the Mayor's Office of Special Enforcement, I, Tony Lindsay, adult male, owner of my home. That is fucking insane. I'm freezing now. Yep, of course. Look, I'm going to go back over to the live stream because TikTok is on that. Look, I'm going to go back over to the live stream because TikTok is on that. I'm going to go back over there. To there. All right. Yeah, I see it happening. I see it happening. Yeah, y'all. Hold on. Yeah, I see that. I see it's freezing. I'm going to go back over there. Hold on. Let me turn that off. Yeah, sorry about that. It was freezing. So, yeah. Just wanted to let you guys know this is the nonsense that's going on. They killed the bill. Local law 18. Not local law 18. Local law 18 wins. The 1%er bill, local law 18 prevails because your New York City Council just killed Intro 948B the day before the vote, the night before the vote. Your incoming New York City City Council Speaker, Julie Menin, has been throwing her weight around to undermine Intro 948B because let's just face it, she knows that if it goes to a vote, it's going to put people in a very serious position of accountability because there is no argument. There is no legitimate argument against Intro 948B. And it's no surprise why, although I issued a challenge to a public debate on this to every single person who has spoken up in opposition, that not a single one of them answered. I offered this, and I just want a conversation. Let's just have a conversation. I offered this conversation to Christian Klossner, and I want it public. It needs to be public because the people need to see, right? I mean, what could go wrong? There's nothing to hide, right? Why is it that these city council members don't want to speak to the authors of the bill? Why is it that they only want to speak to the people who are spreading, who are fear-mongering and lying about it? Come on, public. Listen, to the educated public out there, you got to think. Stop being afraid. Stop being weak. Stop being passive. They work for you. And when they refuse to do their jobs and work for you, you remove them. You hold them accountable. You organize. You get them out. Or are we saying that the unions are more important than you? Are we saying that the donors are truly who they work for and not you? I'm just really like shocked behind this. How could, and you know what, bro? Yo, bro, I pray to God that the sponsors and the co-sponsors of Intro 948, I pray to God y'all didn't sell out. I pray to God y'all didn't capitulate and bend the knee and throw your constituents under the bus in order to preserve your access, your privileges in the new city council. I hope you didn't throw your constituents under the bus in order to get committee appointments, because that's what that shit is looking like right now. So I pose the question again to every one of you, at least the sponsors and co-sponsors of the bill, who your constituents are facing the imminent losses of their homes. Are y'all still voting for Julie Menin for city council speaker? I know Crystal Hudson was holding it down. She's a progressive, like socialist type of person, but I don't agree with all her politics. But I know when it comes to having some level of integrity and honesty, when it comes to the people who are being disenfranchised due to the enforcement of Local Law 18, I know she's holding it down. From my understanding, I know they don't like Airbnb, but that's the point. That is why the HTC and their lobbyists are pushing this as Airbnb, because when you let Airbnb take over the narrative, you see all of these articles written talking about Airbnb bill. Intro 948AB is not an Airbnb fucking bill. It is a homeowner rights bill. It is a homeowner protection and relief bill. It is not an Airbnb bill. But that is what they do in order to trivialize the issue and emotionally trigger you. The same way Kirsten Foy was out there calling the bill, what do you call it? A MAGA tech bill. How stupid do these people think you are? Is it that easy? It's a MAGA tech bill. The owner of Airbnb endorsed Donald Trump, or he helped Donald Trump on so this is a MAGA tech bill. Donald Trump. Hey guys, it's a bill bad. Donald Trump. Bad bill. Donald Trump. Is it that easy, folks? Because shit, the people, first of all, I don't ask people their damn political persuasion if you're losing your home. But I can tell you, living here in New York City, I'm pretty sure more than 90% of the people who are being harmed by Local Law 18 are Democrats. But what does that have to do with people who are losing their homes due to a violation of their constitutional rights? Oh, MAGA, Donald Trump. Bro, y'all don't see how stupid they think y'all are? All they got to do is use a trigger word, rage bait you. Oh my God, it's associated with Trump. Oh my God, this must be bad. This must be bad. No, he associated it with Trump. It's just so stupid on his face to say something like that. Hey guys, this bill must be bad because the owner or the CEO of Airbnb, I think he was involved with Doge, with Elon Musk, and therefore he must be supporting Donald Trump. So this bill to protect the home, it must be associated with Trump. What the fuck are you talking about, dummy? Local Law 18 was written as a law that required registration for short-term rentals. It tethered you to an agency that created and adopted rules that create a substantial and illegal overreach into your private domicile. So the fact that Local Law 18 requires that you register with an agency that violates your constitutional rights as it pertains to unlawful taking, as it pertains to warrantless searches, unequal protections under the law, that law is no longer a valid law. Why am I explaining this and I'm not even a fucking lawyer? How is it that I know this? I'm not an attorney. Do you all not understand the value and the significance of having a constitution? Do you all not see what's going on in other countries, especially in Europe? Is this where we are, bro? Oh, just hand over our freedom. Oh, just tell us what to do. Yeah, I own my house, but I don't really own my house because the state gets to tell me what I can do with my house. They get to tell me how I can use my own property to create income. If I want to create passive income, oh, wait a minute. This is my bike. But no, if you want to take your bike and you want to go out and do Uber deliveries, does the city have a right to say, no, you can't do that? That's our bike. How dare you? You can't have a passenger on your bike. You can't carry more than 2 meals on your bike. When you have your car, you are not allowed to transport more than 3 deliveries in your vehicle. So if you can't do none of that shit with Uber, how the fuck can the city council tell me who I can host in my own home? What are we missing here, people? Bro, yep, you're right, Lewis. That's all it is. Trump bad. Orange man bad. Everybody's ears. Oh, shut off. We're not okay. The bill must be bad. Somebody said Trump. Bye. That's where we at. Anyway, look, I reached out to every single city council member on this issue, and none of them have gotten back. So that has shown a clear disinterest in actually getting to the crux of the issue and understanding what the bill does, because they clearly are opposed to the bill, not because there's anything wrong with the bill, but the bill is not approved of by the hotel trades union, because the hotel industry is in a war with Airbnb. And in these two corporations' big war with each other, the people who are getting caught up in the middle unfairly are being completely drowned out and ignored. And the person who came up with the solution, me, see, I can say this. I can pat myself on the back. I'm going to do that. You know why? Because there's a very clear, blatant effort to keep me out of the conversation. Bro, it is what it is. It's obvious now. There is a clear, distinct effort to keep Tony Lindsay out of the public conversation when it comes to short-term rentals in New York City. Why is that? Because I can debunk every single lie that they're telling. And I'm talking about both sides. I'm talking about everybody, because everybody got the shit wrong. And what's crazy is the bill is right there. The language is right there. Even with one of the changes that they made without saying anything to me, they sort of trivialized it, right? To appease the misinformation, and I hate that word, spreaders. The bill language was perfect the way it was from the beginning. No need to accommodate or appease the people who don't understand. Get a lawyer to read the shit. How about that? Understand what you're fighting against or what you're supporting. How about that? But to the credit of the city council members who did support, they understood it. I met with several of them. I explained it to them. I walked them through it. They understood it. It made absolutely no sense to oppose it. And that's the thing. When you actually meet with me and I explain it to you, and I put it in layman's terms, I explain it like a fifth grader, I break it down, you understand in that moment that you cannot oppose the bill without explicitly exposing yourself as being somehow nefarious or biased in your intent. And I think that's why so many of them have been avoiding a conversation with me specifically, because if you have the conversation with me, you have no choice but to be accountable for your decision and your position. You're either for saving people from foreclosure or you're for displacing them out of their communities without any justification. That's it. That's it. Intro 948 doesn't threaten any of the things that these people have said. And I can prove it. I have proven it. I've written at least, a dozen, 20 articles on this. I've debunked every single thing that has been put out into the public narrative. But I've been doing this shit on my own. And oddly, none of these news outlets that I do have access to, some of them, never seem interested to let me on to debunk the lies that they allowed to be spread on their platforms. Like Errol Lewis from New York One, Spectrum. He had Kirsten Foy on there spewing a whole bunch of bullshit, lying, just overtly lying. This guy's been lying so much, and you can tell he never read the bill. He probably can't even understand the bill. All this guy does is go out there with his Chat GPT prepared script, and they just eat that shit up. I can clearly tell that this man doesn't know anything that he's talking about, but they allow him to just go out there and talk. I don't understand this. This is why I talk about the professional managerial class, the boule, the bourgeoisie. These are the people who are put out there to keep you compliant and managed, keep you dumb. They say a couple of big words that they learned yesterday, and then you're convinced that they actually know what they're talking about. See, I like to break things down into layman's terms. Yeah, I wrote the bill. I understand the big words, but I also understand how to present it in a way that's digestible and understandable, because I believe the public has a right to know the things that they are supporting or the things that they are protesting against. When we were at that hearing, you saw a whole bunch of HTC union members doing this. No, or get out of here when I was testifying. And it was surreal because everything that I was saying was actually in their defense. But they weren't even informed enough to understand that I was someone who was speaking on their behalf. But they were instead trained or told, you're out here as a union member, that bill is going to threaten your job. So I would argue that they were coerced into going out there and protesting against something that they didn't even understand. And that's why I say we have to raise our political IQ. And especially as Black and brown people, you got to raise your political IQ, because you're being used as the Trojan horse to destroy this society. You're being used to destroy your own communities, because these people are coming out here and they're just saying stuff, and they're using you to actively fight against the things that help you and your families. How could those people be standing behind me, sitting behind me, trolling and doing this when I'm speaking up on their behalf, when I'm fighting for them? And when I said I'm fighting for these beautiful people here, you know what they did? Oh, boo. Oh, get out of here. Boo. Like trained seals. HO 948 bad. Is this the state of our politics? Bro, y'all need to find people who actually care and aren't doing this for money or fame. See, that's the thing. When you come across somebody who's not begging for money or somebody who doesn't care about attention or whether people like them or not, like me, people get stuck because they don't know what leverage they can use against you. What can they hold over you? How can they control you and make sure that you don't say the wrong thing? You don't go too far. I got to make sure that I manage you properly. Stay in line. Stick to the script. How can they control someone like that when I don't need anything from them? Or if my integrity won't allow me to be bought. I see a lot. Listen, bro, I know a lot of people personally who have been looking for that access. They've been looking for that, the privilege that comes along with being part of the machine, being close to those in power, being allowed into the room, getting a little bit of notoriety, getting your face in the magazines or the pictures and all of that. I don't care about that. I don't want that. The only way I would even accept something like that is if I knew I was going to be allowed to be effective in the position that I am in and I can actually do the work. I don't care about your clicks. I don't want any new friends. I don't need your acceptance or a pat on the head from anybody. I just want to do the work, bro. Do what's right. And we need to stop electing these people who don't give a damn. They all know the script. They know how to, listen, there's some great speakers out there. They know how to galvanize the crowd and get you riled up and motivate you like Al Sharpton. They know how to get the crowd jumping. But then you have to dig into their actions. What are they doing to actually serve? When you come across someone who is truly committed to serving, you don't burn that bridge. You don't undermine that person. So what are we doing here? Look, I've been on here talking long enough. I don't know if anybody on X is watching this. I don't know if anybody that's connected to Intro 948A or anything, but look, tomorrow, I'm going to be on the steps of City Hall. I'm going to be in the park. I'm going to be in the, the Tundra. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. That's it. I'm there. And I hope you all will meet me there too. We can't keep complaining that the people we put in office are not serving us when we're not even willing to show up to hold them accountable. Otherwise, we're just complaining. It's just grievance, but no action. How many of you all are willing to actually put in the work? At least show up. Support the people who are fighting for you. Why not stand with them and support them? You know why I'm so passionate about this? Because I have kids. I have grandchildren. I want a better world for them. But how can that be created when we're surrounded by weak people? Julie Menin must be held accountable. Adrienne Adams, the current speaker, should be supported. How disrespectful is that? For Julie Menin, who lives in one of the wealthiest districts in New York City, to actively undermine the final agenda of the current city council speaker, where she is trying to support a bill that offers relief to her most vulnerable constituents. A bill that has no harmful impact on anyone else. How can any of you respect that? How could any of you vote for someone like that? If you do, you should be shamed. You don't vote for someone like that. But if you do, we're going to know why you did. Especially when we start seeing all of those committee appointments. Those chair appointments. All I know, bro, whoever made this decision, listen, even if it gets voted down, we need it on the record. Remember when they had that movement, force the vote on the left? Remember that? When they were pushing force the vote just to get the senators on the record? We need to force the vote right now. We need to get all of our city council on the record. Those who are for and those who are against, because we want to identify you. We want to be able to identify you for the future. You think people just gonna take this shit laying down? Oh yeah, fuck you up, we tried. Okay. Come on, bank, foreclosure, take my home. I'm ready for homelessness. Come on, investors, Jewish investors, because that's they're all out here. That's what they're doing. In case y'all don't know, there's a lot of Jewish investors out here. Yeah, I said it, that are out here involved in deed theft and manipulation of people, scamming them out of their homes and trying to get their homes for pennies on the dollar. I've spoken to the Attorney General's office about it, her people about it. I've spoken to the district attorney, the Brooklyn district attorney about it, and they've done nothing. Nothing. These people are pretending, y'all. They're pretending. And that's why they don't want to talk to me, bro. Because I'm going to tell you the truth how it is. That's all right. Y'all going to hear it tomorrow. And you're going to hear it every day. Every day. Until I leave this city. Because at the end of the day, look, I'm tapping out. Y'all win. I'm out. Self-preservation. Kicking in. I'll watch the implosion from Florida. But while I'm still here, I'm going to be in all your asses. I'm going to be in your ass. All of you. So it's a matter of principle for me. And I'm calling all of you out. So, like I said, folks, at the very least, what you all need to be doing is you need to force a vote. Force the vote in committee. Listen, if they vote it down, it doesn't even get to a floor vote, fine. But we want to see who votes against this. And we want to know why. Because when you try to offer some false talking point, oh, well, I voted against it because I know it's going to threaten the city's long-term rental supply. False. I already testified to that. I sent you the information. I delivered that information to you, to your staff, to you personally, emailed you, DM'd you, put it on your social, and I saw you read it. So I want to hear this. Lie. Put them in the position where they must go on the record with their votes. Man, if any of you have any respect for Adrienne Adams, bro, y'all shouldn't do her like this. Because that's messed up. If any of you have respect for her, you shouldn't do that. Because she really went to bat for this bill. And this is really impacting her constituents. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that the sponsors and co-sponsors for this bill are disproportionately Black city council members who have high, and Hispanic, who have high Black and brown homeowner numbers. They have a high number of constituents. Actually, the highest number of constituents. Their districts have the highest numbers of Black and brown home ownership, and they are disproportionately being harmed. And those districts are seeing the highest rates of foreclosure since Local Law 18 went into effect. So to see that in the midst of all of that, you have this wealthy woman doing something unprecedented by undermining the agenda of the current city council speaker, who is literally fighting for the most marginalized people who are being impacted in her district, as well as the districts of the mostly people of color who are sponsoring this bill, where there's a disproportionate impact on those people. To see her just say, fuck that, fuck those small homeowners, and let me protect the interests of the wealthy folks who are exempt from Local Law 18, while she herself is invested in Airbnbs in other cities. Well, what? Her real estate portfolio includes short-term rentals, but she's actively fighting against it here. Make it make sense. She's making millions of dollars. Anybody got an explanation for that? Bro, it's not even, y'all don't even want the truth. And that's the sad part about it. All I'm asking is that you guys hold these people accountable moving forward. Don't be afraid. Speak up, speak out. There are more of you than them. And they have to be reminded who they work for. They need to be reminded who they must fear. Not the HTC, not any other unions, but their constituents, the people who hired them. They work for you. Don't forget that. And when you reestablish that dynamic, maybe, just maybe, you will start to see some level of representation. And the next time you go to your city council member's office, maybe you won't be getting a runaround and some attitude fucking teenager telling you, oh, please, giving you an attitude. I don't know. New York City's in for some major trouble. So I understand why this current council is trying to get certain things through. Oh, and by the way, that COPA bill, throw that shit in the trash. I heard that they already have enough votes for like a super majority. It's ridiculous. They are literally trying to take away wealth from the most. This is, bro, I can't wait till I get out of here. But anyway, look, I'll see you all tomorrow. I will be there bright and early at the city council to make my voice heard. I hope many of you will meet me there to help to make your voice heard right alongside me, because nothing is ever going to change if we're not willing to get uncomfortable, if we're not willing to stand up and speak up and do the work. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you guys soon. The podcast will be up very soon. You know, I'm working on things. I'm giving myself maybe like another week. Hopefully I get to close, get rid of this first property so I can get the hell out of New York. But I'm working on it. The podcast will be launching soon. Tony L Talks. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you all later. Peace.